Hello everyone. Today I'm going to teach you the poem Keeping Quiet. Keeping Quiet was written by Pablo Neruda, which is the pen name of Neftali Ricardo Reis Basalto. He was born in the town of Parral in Chile. Neruda's poems are full of easily understood images. He was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1971. In this poem, Neruda talks about the necessity of self-introspection and creating a feeling of mutual understanding among human beings. And I think this poem is very much relevant to the present scenario, the global scenario of the outbreak of the coronavirus taking many people's lives globally. Here he requests us to introspect on what we are doing. Let us read the poem loudly once. Now we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. It would be an exotic moment. Without rush, without engines, we would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and a man gathering salt would look at his hard hands. Those who prepared green wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. This is a loud reading of it. Now I will be giving you a detailed explanation of the poem. In this process of introspection, the poet Pablo Neruda, he asks us to count up to 12. This is a question to be pondered upon again. Why does he ask us to count up to 12? Maybe it's because of the 12 months of the calendar, the 12 zodiac signs. It's up to you, children, give your own interpretation why he doesn't ask us to count up to 13 or any other number, but up to 12. So let us all count up to 12 and we will all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. So he appeals to the humanity, to the human race, to keep still for some time without speaking in any language, because when you speak, you have trouble. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. No gesture, nothing he has asked us, just to keep quiet. It would be an exotic moment. Without rush, without engines, we would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Now children, when you keep quiet, how? It's just an exotic moment, a strange moment of stillness. Just try to experience that. It's a really exotic moment, a very strange moment, because in this technologically advanced society, we are in the mad rush to fulfill all our needs. We don't have time to keep quiet. But if we all keep quiet, just imagine how the strangeness of the situation will be. Hope you had observed that in the Janta curfew that day, 22nd March. How the stillness the earth was around you. Personally, I could enjoy the chirping of the birds that day. So it was just an exotic moment, without engines, without nothing. Sudden strangeness. So he asked humanity to do it, to practice it at our own level. What will happen as a result of that, he explains in the next stanza. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales. Fishermen, day in and day out, they keep on hunting for whales. They will not be doing any harm to the whales. And a man gathering salt in the saline water of the sea, he would have time to see his hands, how much hurt he has caused by collecting salt. In a similar way, those who prepare green wars means with the environment, cutting trees and everything, exploiting the environment. Was it gas? Was it fire? Victory with no survivors. Yes, he has won the game. He's won the war. But after destruction, is there any point in that winning, in that triumph? So in that case, if there are no green wars, no wars at fire, no wars at gas, what will they do? They will join hands together and walk in a friendly way. This is what Pablo Neruda in this poem asks for us to do. In the next stanza, he clarifies his stand. Pablo Neruda clarifies his stand, telling that what I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Here by total inactivity, he means death. He says that by this, I don't mean that you have to die. Please don't confuse. He clarifies his stand. I'm not relating by keeping quiet, I am telling that people should die. He just wants us to introspect. Life is what it is about. Life is to go on. Whatever comes your way, you have to accept it. But often we have to introspect what we are doing. That's what he's telling. I want no truck with debt. He says that he wants no truck with debt. Means he says that he wants no dealing with debt. We should not confuse it. If we were not so single-minded about our lives moving and for once could do nothing, we are in the run, in the mad rush of fulfilling our goals, achieving our targets in our workplace these days. We all have our own targets. As students, you have the target of doing well in your exams. We people, we adults, we all have our own priorities and our own targets. And we are busy doing that. We have no time, especially in this technologically advanced society. We have no time. So he says that for once, if we can keep quiet, because what happens, he says here, if we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. He says here that when we are in the rush to achieve our targets, what happens? We have some ups and downs. Sometimes we are failures, sometimes we are successful. So when there is a failure in our target, then we become sad. And sometimes even that sadness, threatens ourselves to death too. Because why all this happens? Because we don't know what we are doing. We have no time to introspect on our activities. We say failures are the pillars to success, but we don't point out, we don't find out for ourselves where our failure lies. That is what he says. Sadness of never understanding ourselves, and of threatening ourselves with death. We have no time to do that. So he urges that we better keep quiet for some time. We should not work all the time. Some rest is required for us to introspect on our activities or what we are doing. Finally, he says, perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. He gives the example, he compares to that we need to learn from the Mother Earth. So much of activities are being done on the Mother Earth. She keeps quiet. Yes, everything seems dead sometimes on the Mother Earth. But again, she comes back to life. So he says finally, now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. He says he has done his bit as a poet to guide the human race to do what is needed, that is to introspect, to meditation, and see what we are doing in our life. We can practice this at our own level. He says, through my poetry, through this poem of mine, I am just letting you know, appealing to the entire human race, rather to keep quiet, count up to 12 and keep quiet and introspect on our activities so that we elevate the sadness and the threat of self-destruction, which would build up a sense of togetherness when we introspect on our activities. Thank you.